So now we're going to be looking at squat mechanics and how we can get a squat pattern which is really effective for distributing the load through the quads and not through the lower back or too much through the hips. To do this, what we want to do this time is keep the hips loaded over the middle of the foot while we have more range of motion through the ankle. So in an ideal squat, we want the knees to be travelling forward over the toe whilst we balance the load over our feet like so, going forward and then pushing back up. Now again, just like every movement, it's going to need to be tailored for the individual based on their biomechanics and their current strength and mobility levels. So now we're going to be looking about how we individualize a setup based on an assessment. So Dave, what you can do for me please, just do a body weight squat, however you like to begin with. And back up please. So Dave has a very aesthetically good squat, so it looks he can achieve depth very well and he's able to keep his lower back stable. The only issue with this one is that we want to make sure we're actually distributing load through the quad and not too much through the hip. The way we can do this is we can encourage him to send his centre of mass forward by actually raising his ankles. So if you can now just come up onto your toes, and what we want to do is shift the load forward whilst keeping the pelvis over the heels and thinking that the hips are coming down like this, not backwards. That is going to help us use a lot more quad, which is going to be safer and getting more through the knee. So knees coming forward. And as you can see in this variation, now we have hips over the heel, more through the quad as he pushes through. We have more of a true squat pattern. Okay, so we're going to be looking at setup and safely unracking the bar. So Dave, you want to show me how you did it before? So this way of unracking is very, very common for a lot of people to do. If you take it back for me, please. But the thing that we've got to be conscious of is as you get stronger and stronger or you put more weight on the bar, is when the hips are behind the bar, we have a lot of load going through the lower back, and it's more of a good morning type movement. To make this safe and effective, when you're unracking, you want your heels to be underneath the bar, the hips underneath the bar. We're going to put the load through the quads and then you just do a small squat up like so. You can take it back down for me, Dave. In order to create the most amount of strength in the midriff, we want to go intra-abdominal pressure by breathing in through the nose and getting 3D expansion throughout the sides, the back and the belly. Once we've done that, we take the bar off and we're going to step backwards into this position here. A lot of people will hold the breath in this position, but what I would recommend is you breathe out and get tight around the midriff again. Then you breathe in again and create a really solid 360 belt again through the midriff. We've established that due to Dave's ankle mobility, we're going to raise his heels. Now you can do this by wearing lifting shoes, or you can find a ramp or possibly even using plates at your gym. So again, the main focus with the squat is keeping the pelvis over the feet as the knees travel forward. So Dave's going to drop himself down into the movement, knees coming forward, keeping into this position. Soon as we see any change in the lumbar spine, that means that that's the depth he needs to go to. I'm going to push through the quads, bringing himself back up. So again, taking a deep breath in through the nose, trying not to get that open scissors with the chest. Knees travel forward, pelvis stays over the heels, like so. He's going to pause, then drive through the quads, like so. And then one more time for me, please. So again, inhale, making that 360 belt, knees travel forward, hips over the heels, so they're not traveling back. He's going to pause in that position, push through the quads, drive himself back up. So for a safe and effective squat, which is individualized for you, we want to be thinking about mobility through the ankles and how well you can move your knees over your feet. If you have any restrictions, the easiest way to get over that is to raise the heels. We also need to think about how we balance the pelvis over the feet. If we start to travel too far back, as you're going further down into the squat, rethink your depth and maybe not going as low so that you can keep your lower back stable. The final thing is that a lot of people gravitate to using a barbell and having the barbell on the back. That is going to be dependent on your own shoulder mobility. If you can't safely get your hands behind your back with a barbell in that position, then I'd recommend using either a goblet, so a kettlebell in a goblet position, or you can use a safety bar where your elbows are out in front of you. Thank you for watching the squat mechanics video. Hope you enjoyed it and found it useful.